recording. All right. Hi, my name is Sarah Fernandez, and today I'd like to ask you what you imagine when you think of Paris, France. And a lot of people think of the Eiffel Tower, they think of romance in the city and food, but Paris is more than that. Paris is an artistic center, it is a historic center, and it is also an architectural center. So Paris is comprised of 2,241,346 French-speaking people, and this city has a very long and rich history. According to Courtney Traub's article, One Page History of Paris, Paris was first settled by the Gauls, and they established the city of Parisi, which was taken over by the Romans in 52 BC. And 300 years later, the Franks took over the Roman city, which they had named Gaul, and established the monarchy that we are familiar with today. And that monarchy was dismantled during the French Revolution, and the Parisians, inspired by Enlightenment ideas, overthrew the upper class. And during the French Revolution, the Parisians tried and executed over 17,000 people, and that statistic is from History.com, their article, French Revolution. And late after the French Revolution, Paris was invaded by the Nazis, and in Jonathan Yardley's book, The Truth About Parisian Resistance to Nazis, the City of Light was a very dark time during that period. But Paris is also art, which is a little bit happier than Nazi invasions. So in Weinberg's Americans in Paris, 1860 to 1900, she establishes that Paris was the art capital of the 19th century. And that is because of the flourishing countryside, the flourishing city center, and the new opera house just really drew in lots of artists, sculptors, musicians, writers. And that tradition continued well into the 1920s and even into modern day. And Paris is still a mecca for artists and writers and all different spans of art. And as you can see from this extensive list here, which is from a Paris guide, A Walk Through Montmartre, many artists made their home in Paris, whether it was temporary or for their life. And lastly, Paris is an architectural center. According to Arch Daily, a architectural magazine, there are 13 different types of well-preserved architecture that you can see in Paris, and it's all very, very diverse, from Haussmann apartments to Napoleon's apartments in the Louvre, Sainte-Chapelle, the Eiffel Tower, lots of diverse, well-preserved architecture. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of Paris are the Gothic architecture that you can see, such as Notre Dame, Sainte-Chapelle, the Basilique Saint-Denis, and many other Gothic cathedrals that you can see when you're going throughout the city. In conclusion, Paris is a very multifaceted city. It has a lot to offer for everybody, no matter what you're looking for. But it's a historic center, it's an artistic center, and it's an architectural center. But it does have a lot to offer. Thank you. Can I open the floor to any questions?
Could you tell me, if I only had a week to go to Paris, what would be the top 3 things you recommend to see?
I would recommend seeing the Eiffel Tower, because it's kind of a symbol of France, and it's just kind of one of those touristy things that you'd have to go see. The Louvre, because there's a lot of art in the Louvre, and it's also it has Napoleon's apartments in it as well, and it's a really extensive art museum. If you spent 7 seconds looking at each piece of art in the Louvre, it would still take you 3 weeks to get through the entire museum. And third, I would say exploring in Montmartre, because that was where a lot of the artists and writers spent a lot of their time creating their works, and you can see a lot of the history there and the art as well. Any others?
Well, I was wondering about the other artists besides the Impressionists. What other artists flourished during that time?
So there was also a big music movement movement, impressionist music during that evolved out of Paris, and that was because of Debussy, who is a very he had a lot of very new ideas that he wanted to share that were very different from what composing was at the time. So he had this very groundbreaking music that he pushed forward that really paved the way for modern music as we have it today. So that came out of Paris as well.
Very interesting.
All right, thank you.